right, everybody. It is a Wednesday night. You know what that means. We just got off the air with an incredible AEW Dynamite. It was Beach Break week. They're in Chicago this week. Some things that just kind of write themselves, but you are watching DynaMic'd up here on bodyslam.net. Jose Gonzalez here, as always. You might have noticed something a little different, a serious lack of beard on this episode. I mean, yes, I did trim, but alas, JPJ, my brother in crime, he is not here tonight. He had some other obligations, but I figured we needed someone that could step up to the plate that's not only very experienced when it comes to the podcasting realm, someone that keeps up with everything. You've seen her at various media junkets as well, whether you see her writing at Daily DDT, whether you listen to her at Hardy Wrestling Podcast, the one and only Stephanie Hardy. Steph, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic, and I'm so happy and honored that you asked me to be your guest host. I was very surprised. I was like, "Oh my God, sure!" And it's really great. It's our first time working together. Like, I'm just really pumped.
Yeah, I feel like we've always kind of engaged in the same circles over the years, but just kind of like a matter of when the opportunity arose. But I am excited. You do incredible things. You should
Thank
definitely be
you.
proud of everything that you've accomplished thus far, and you're definitely not going anywhere anytime soon. So, if you guys are new to Stephanie Hardy, make sure they're following her on all platforms. I mean, she keeps it very easy at Queen Steph Hardy. I mean, you're going to get some great wrestling takes. You might even get to see some other fun pop culture stuff. I mean, we are getting ready for Wicked for Good, so who knows? You're probably going to see some stuff about that because the trailer drops next month, and I'm excited for it. So,
Me too. Oh my God, I'm so ready. It's gonna be an emotional mess, but I am so pumped. Oh my gosh.
I know. I mean, I was boohooing in the theater the first time. I could only imagine the second half. But, I mean, before we could even get into, say his name and he appears who needs to hungry. We got JPJ on the Twitch chat. Hello, friend. But I mean, thinking of things that have also changed us for good, it wouldn't be an episode of a Body Slam podcast if we weren't talking to you guys about Shroom Bar. Come on, guys, the protein mushroom bar. It is made up of not psychedelics, but four powerful mushroom adaptogens. It has lion's mane, which increases focus, memory, and neuroplasticity, making it easier to form new patterns and learn new things. Next time you're trying to learn that new move, it'll actually stick in your head rather than forgetting it immediately. It has cordyceps, which increases VO2 max, blood flow, and overall endurance. It has reishi, which decreases stress. It has turkey tail, which boosts your immune system, and we all know y'all need that on those nasty-ass gym mats. And on top of that, it has 12 grams of protein. So make sure that you're going to eatshroombar.com and you're using code BODYSLAM for 25% off of your first order. And as always, thank you, Shroom Bar, for partnering with bodyslam.net throughout all of our endeavors. But yes, JJ saying having a great show. Big thank you. Absolutely. We will see you next week, brother. You take it easy tonight. Normally, the opener at his shoot job is closing tonight. So very grateful to still have Stephanie here with us to discuss an incredible episode of Dynamite with Beach Break. But as always, if you guys want to make sure that you are seen, you are heard, anything that you want to discuss, feel free to send over a little bit of a slam chat. I mean, you guys know how the deal goes. You send a little bit, you get shown on screen. Just make sure it's nothing cancelable because, I mean, the internet is forever. If we're going to platform you, we're going to make sure you're looking as good as you can, you know. We are not held liable for anything like that. But yes, in the words of Lacey Mosley, so we don't want yes, fuck up your bag. Amen. But yeah. But aside from that, I mean, we had a jam-packed card stuff. I mean, starting from the beginning, we have our men's Owen Hart finalists in tag team action. We had Will Ospreay and Hangman Adam Page going against Don Callis family's Konosuke Tatashita and Josh Alexander. And what was a great opener. I mean, jam-packed action from the opening bell. Felt like we didn't have really any commercial breaks either. It was a good match. It was a long match. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it was a really insane opener. I always find myself getting pumped hearing Will Ospreay's music because it
Mhm.
just gives superhero vibes every time I hear it. So every time you know he's coming, you're
Yeah.
going to get a yummy match. And just the idea of him tagging with a guy that he's going to be fighting in this prestigious tournament coming up is just like, okay, well, how is this going to happen? And throughout the match, you saw them, sort of working together, but then it kind of fell apart, toward at the beginning, but then it came together towards the middle and the end. But then, of course, towards the end, they're staring at each other like, can I really trust you? Like, what's going on? And then eventually it all fell apart. Because, of course, They just have their differences. But the thing that I found the most impressive about the match was just the difference of styles that we saw. Because of course you have Will Ospreay, who's going to give you a lot of the backflips and everything and a lot of, aerial moves. And you'll get that also from Adam Page, but he's kind of like a hybrid.
Yeah.
But he'll jump in the air, but then he'll also give you a lot of mat work too. And he's a brawler as well. But then you have Konosuke Takeshita tagging with, like, oh my god, tagging with Josh Alexander, who is just like amazing no matter what match he's in. Like in this match, I could not believe that at one point he actually caught Will Ospreay in the air, like as he was trying to hit one of his moves, and then just threw him and just tossed him like he was like a sack of hay. It was
Yeah, that
nuts.
was insane because it's like Osprey's going for like some sort of moonsault or whatever, and then like just see him
Yeah.
catch him on the shoulders and toss him like a fucking pizza dough. It was great.
Like that was nuts. And I just remember, my time of watching Josh Alexander as the walking weapon in TNA and just seeing him sort of transition to this. I never expected to see him as a villain, in this way, but somehow it works with Don Callis and them. He makes those wheels and deals. But either way, like this match was fantastic. You had Konosuke and Josh even playing a little dirty. Like, but all in all, it was really solid action from both teams. And, I was really surprised at first that Josh and Will were able to like pull it together, but then, you know, hey, they fell apart because now they got to fight.
Yeah, and it's not too often with AEW that we have kind of a can they coexist kind of moment because it seems very much of the WWE ilk. But I mean, we did definitely have like a nice variance of styles. I mean, Osprey being the aerial assassin, you do have the brawler kind of hybrid with the high flyer stuff with Hangman, Takeshita being a huge striker, and then Alexander being such a technical powerhouse. Like there was something for everybody in this match. There were a lot of dives to the outside. We got to see those double moonsaults. We got to see a lot of big suplexes. But I mean, ultimately, it's kind of like those close calls of like, oh, is Hangman going to hit Will with the buckshot lariat? Is Will going to hit him with the hidden blade? Turns out they're able to overcome the odds, and they actually hit Josh Alexander with a combo of both moves for the win. And then after the match, we did see Takeshita getting back in the ring, trying to mix it up with them. And you see Osprey on the defensive almost takes out Page. And then kind of the same thing again, where referee poor Bryce Remsburg trying to pull him apart, tell him to save it for Double or Nothing. But I mean, definitely emotions running high, but I mean, a great way to kind of set the sail further into Double or Nothing, both of them coming off a big win. And now it's just a matter of what's going to happen next week because next week is go home week to Double or Nothing, and we still got plenty of pavement to be hitting the ground running on. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm very excited too. And then just the tension that you felt at that one point when I believe Will was sliding on his knees and he almost like hit Adam and they just had that stare off.
Yeah, literally like an inch away, and then you
Oh,
just see him staring daggers through him. It was insane.
it was sick. Like I almost wish they had stared each other. They had just stared at each other for about maybe 7 more minutes before Takesha pulled Hangman away. But either way, it was just like so tension filled. Like I've been afraid of Hangman since he burned down Swerve's house on my birthday.
Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it. I mean, I think he's since tried to change a little bit. I can't say that he's all the way there. I mean, he even said himself like he doesn't forgive Swerve. He doesn't forget anything that Swerve did, but he does recognize that he lost himself along the way. Which, hey, more power to you. We're all human, but I mean, I wouldn't go committing arson and crimes and almost unaliving him in the middle of a steel cage in Chicago. But that is neither here nor there. But I mean,
Hmm.
we will talk about steel cage in Chicago a little bit later, as
Yeah.
we had like a little bit of a vignette before we get into the main event. But backstage, Alicia Atute is talking with Top Flight about tonight's non-title match versus the Hurt Syndicate, and emotions definitely running high. I mean, Dante immediately calling out MJF about the attack, basically saying like anything that he wants to do, he can hurt them harder. And then Darius saying that they're still focused on those championships. It might be underestimated, but all it takes is 3 seconds. And then giving their approval, actually, First time we've seen them on TV in a little bit. The Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara mentioning that they're going to be watching very closely to that tag match, which only concerned me simply because of the fact that as of late, Ring of Honor does not have a good track record with their champions appearing on their programming or building contenders to their champions, but we shall see what happens. I don't want to turn this into a Ring of Honor show. I know there's other places that do those on other nights, but yikes. But, I mean, speaking of yikes, I mean, the only thing worse than having champions with no challengers is a man with no prosthetic leg that got hijacked last week on Collision, because we have Ricochet going one-on-one with making his AEW debut, former WWE star, and Zach Gowen, which was actually a really fun match. I think if memory serves me right, this is the first time I've seen Zach Gowen wrestle live. I've gone back through the catalog and seen moments, but actually getting to see him go like in prime time was actually a really fun match. I mean, Stephanie, what were your thoughts on this one?
It was really fun, and it almost felt like another nostalgia trip I've had within the span of 3 days. Like, I
You can
literally
tell.
posted on Twitter that if you had told me that I would see a Zach Gowen match in 2025 on television with Taz on commentary, I would not have believed you. Like, I just would
Yeah.
not have believed you, because Zach Gowen, like, he used to really like get it on, and fight with Brock Lesnar like on SmackDown like every Thursday. And it's just really insane how time just, moves forward. We all grow up, and we remember things, and then all of a sudden, it's like a nostalgia trip. Wrestling does that to you, where they'll bring back people from your past that you know about but you don't expect to see, and you're just like, wow, like here he is thriving and still doing his thing, because I remember looking at him as a child. So seeing him get back at Ricochet for stealing his leg and also just messing with him when he wasn't doing anything to him, at Collision, was just icing. It was just icing on a cake for me, like along with the nostalgia. I enjoyed the match. I really thought Zach was going to get the win, because that just would have been awesome. I mean, his family was there. Like,
Yeah.
that would have been the cool thing. But, it was what it was, and then Ricochet got the win. But I was happy that he had Mark Briscoe come out and defend him at the end and actually take his leg back, because who are you to just take this man's leg like this? That's real rude. Like, I understand Ricochet has turned a new leaf now, but geez, that's a new low, sweetie. Like, give him his leg back. Chill.
Yeah. I mean, those are expensive too. I mean, in this economy, shoot, I don't want to have to replace nothing if I don't need to. But I do like that it was a nice competitive match. Hassan Terrell in the chat, hello there. But yeah, no, I mean, this was actually a very competitive match, which pleased me. So we got to see a lot of high flying from both men. We got to see Zach doing some big dives to the outside. We got to see Ricochet doing like a springboard 450. Then he did a shooting star press, like really just hyping up everything. And then obviously, it looks like he was going to try to stab him with the scissors a la Swerve, which thank God the referee took that away. We got to see Zach Gowen grab his leg and use it as a weapon, almost beating Ricochet, but alas, the spirit gun seals the deal. And then we did get that running from Mark Briscoe. I mean, I totally understand why Ricochet won. I don't think he's necessarily a heel that needs to win, but I guess it makes sense considering the fact that like they've been trying to hype up the fact that he's had an answer for a lot of the challenges that have been thrown in front of him, including Swerve. So very interested to see what this is going to set up for Double or Nothing, because as it stands right now, Mark Briscoe doesn't really have a lot going on. Ricochet doesn't really have a lot going on. Maybe there's a match they get involved in at Double or Nothing that still technically is not fully confirmed. Who knows? But yes, I do know that backstage we have Renee Paquette talking with MJF, and it is officially decision night for one Bobby Lashley. So Renee asking the hard-hitting question, what will happen if Hurt Syndicate says yes? MJF saying that she asked a good question for once, which rude. Renee always asks great questions. How dare you? He said for 406 days you had to admit that he was the greatest wrestler on earth when he was the AEW World Champion, and how he got screwed out of the Triple B. The roster's now more stacked from top to bottom than ever. He doesn't want to wrestle unless he knows he's going to win. And if he's part of the Hurt Syndicate, they're going to be unstoppable, and it's no longer an impossibility for him to become a two-time champion but rather an inevitability. However, before he could walk off, Renee just catches him and says, what if they say no? And before we could even get a response from MJF, we do see Hurt Syndicate making their way backstage. The embrace from Bobby Lashley, MVP saying that after that tag match, it's imperative that they join him in the ring. And Bobby's saying, oh, this is going to be fun. So you never know what you're going to get out of Bobby Lashley, and especially in this form of Bobby Lashley and the Hurt Syndicate, which I'm all for. Bobby just wants to hurt somebody. I mean, don't they all? But still, I'm excited to see the prospect of what could happen. I say this as though it already happened about an hour and a half ago. That is neither here nor there, folks. But we do have some eliminator action for the World Tag Championships. Hurt Syndicate, Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley taking on Darius and Dante Martin of Top Flight. MVP's out at ringside. Layla Gray's out at ringside. And it seemed like for the early part of it, the babyfaces were kind of getting it in a little bit. We saw immediately big DDT to Shelton Benjamin, some poetry in motion to try to keep Bobby on the outside. Took two of them to take a dive to take him out. But I mean, the Hurt Syndicate's going to do what Hurt Syndicate does. They're going to find a way to get back in with a big blow and just wear them down. I mean, Shelton Benjamin with these knees are just brutal. You got Bobby Lashley throwing people around like a rag doll. And eventually, it is just too much. I mean, it seems like at one point, Darius is going to get the hot tag to Dante. Dante's going for a slingshot, and Shelton knees him to the outside. It almost looked like Layla was going to get involved for a second, but MVP was like, I don't think so. And then we see Darius in the Hurt Lock, that full Nelson swing. No, Dante was in the Hurt Lock, just getting his life strangled out of them. Darius tried to make it in, and then Shelton takes him out. Hurt Syndicate wins, which I'm just shocked. Although, the post-match is what actually has me shocked. I mean, before we even get into the post-match stuff, Stephanie, any thoughts on the tag match itself?
Yes, I have always enjoyed Top Flight. Like I remember when when I would host a post show with Drian Santana, whenever we would talk about Rampage, and they were one of my favorite tag teams to watch simply because their style of tag team wrestling is just what I enjoy the absolute most. I am a sucker for high flying and just quick movements. So watching them tonight was definitely like a breath of fresh air. I was hoping that they were going to get a win because I've been sort of gunning for them to have, you know, a tag team title opportunity because we've seen tag teams like them who sort of came up from AEW, like even sort of like at its beginning stages, and also teams like Private Party who even had their chance to win, as short-lived as their reign was. I wanted so much, you know, for tag teams like that in AEW. So I was really rooting for Darius and Dante to actually get the win up on them. Like, come on, like that would be so cool. You know, I just love rooting for the underdog. But the Hurt Syndicate, you know, they're just too tough and they're operating on all cylinders and they have a point to prove. And they proved it with all of their power and all of their might. So yeah, I enjoyed the match, but it was sad to watch Top Flight lose because I just want them to get to the top of the tag division.
Yeah, I still don't know how they haven't had a tag title run yet. And I mean, you mentioned Private Party. That was immediately where my mind went with the up-and-comers and the homegrown talent. And then before we could even get into any of the business that the Hurt Syndicate's going to get into with MJF, we actually see Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara making their way out to ringside again. And basically saying, because Bobby, this whole time, he still had the Hurt Lock locked in on Dante. Like, MVP keeping the ref from breaking it up. And then he comes out basically saying, oh, you think you look like a badass? You actually look like an asshole. Which leads to MVP saying, like, how he acknowledges the past that he has with Dustin in another company. Basically saying, just like, I respect you, I respect your father. That's the only reason why your ass isn't in the ground right now. And basically just going off of that. And then we also hear from Dustin saying that they need to pick on somebody his own size, and that's where they try to offer to come into the ring. But before that happens, Lio Rush and Action Andretti are coming out to the ring for crew. Basically just coming out disrespecting the hell out of Dustin Rhodes, basically saying old man and his buddy are trying to be heroes, says to beat it Gramps, and threatens Sammy especially to leave so they don't send him back to his daughter with a rearranged face. Which, speaking of, where's Ty Mello?
That's a great question.
Ty Mello, we need you back on TV, girl. We saw that match in Japan. We know you can go. It just we're waiting for you. But I mean, we have that happen, and then I mean, Dustin getting back onto the match and basically saying like, well, even before Crew came out, because MVP was basically asking what did he want, and then he said, judging by the belts around our waist, it's obvious what they want. Because Dustin being a double tag team champion, because he's also not only just the Ring of Honor World Tag Champion, he's also 1/3 of the 6-man Ring of Honor Tag Champions, along with the Von Erichs. So you stay champion, you don't really got to get champion, but that ain't going to stop Dustin Rhodes, apparently. But before we can even get into that, Leo's saying that they don't mean disrespect, and then they had some old business in the ring to tend to, obviously kind of alluding to the past that Lio Rush has with Bobby Lashley, get another place. Basically said they've been scouting the tag division every week for competition, and they also have a victory over Top Flight in their name. And they try to issue the challenge immediately to Hurt Syndicate for the tag titles. And then Dustin flat out says you're not cutting in line. You're going to learn respect for your elders. And MVP, being the businessman that he is, says that they can fight on Collision this Saturday. And the winners are going to get a world tag title shot at Double or Nothing. And that after the break, we're finally going to give MJF what he deserves with that answer for the Hurt Syndicate's contracts. So very interesting to see that there's still a chance that we could see the Ring of Honor Tag Champions go after another championship instead of defending theirs. But again, that is neither here nor there. I'm sure my friends over at our local establishment for Honor Ramble tomorrow night, I'm sure Auntie Collins and Kyle Sparks are going to have plenty to say about that. And if they don't, I would be genuinely surprised. But, I mean, before we even get into MJF's response, like, what were you expecting the result to be as far as his acceptance or denial into the Hurt Syndicate? I'm very curious, Stephanie.
I thought that they were going to say no, honestly. I really felt like the Hurt Syndicate were going to say no to MJF because I understand, that he had been jumping through all of these hoops in order, to try to get in with them. And it's really hard to imagine, number one, MJF wanting to be a part of a stable or a faction because he's just been so by himself and so about himself for so long that you're just like, why do you want to get in this group? But even number two, just him just trying, to get in with them. I just thought maybe they'd be like, all right, let look at this white boy trying to get in this group with us. Let's just, play with him until we can finally just tell him no. But when they actually did say yes to him, I was just like, okay, that's interesting. And then you had Shelton in the back acting like he was getting ready to kick him. I was like, okay, so
yeah,
is the
MJF
fix
was
in?
trying to come out because he thought he was about to get mollywopped, which I mean, I wouldn't have been opposed to. But I mean, ultimately, Shelton drags his ass to the ring, and then it seems MVP says it's going to be his moment of reckoning. The long stall on Bobby Lashley with MJF in hand. Is he going to do it? Is he? And then it also looks like Shelton's about to deck him with a super kick. And then the thumb went up. And it's just, well. So, I don't know. I was waiting for the thumbs down. I wanted the super kick. But honestly, my theory that I have as far as the Hurt Syndicate goes is still in play because we find out that next week is the official contract signing for MJF into the Hurt Syndicate. The week before, or the show before, Double or Nothing. All I'm going to say is there's a certain individual who is now officially a free agent that might have a little bit of history with those men in the Hurt Syndicate, at least 3 out of the 4 of them, if we're actually including Max in that field now. Let's see. Some might say he knows a thing about being big and or swole. Just throwing that out there, but we shall see. But
yep, he knows.
Long story short, it better be
soul.
Cedric Alexander next week. That's all I know.
Yeah, he knows a thing about being the soul of a brand.
Absolutely. Being underestimated for so long, transforming himself for an opportunity, having people chanting for him to get a contract. I mean, they won't even have to chant this time because, I mean, if I was Tony Khan and I have any taste in wrestling, which, I mean, you look at half the roster, regardless if the Hurt Syndicate was there or not, Cedric Alexander seems like very much of an AEW caliber wrestler. Just round out the stable, let Max have nowhere to go but to try to have some allies in his corner and see where this goes. But I mean, before we even get into the next match, we kind of jump ahead because we find out that when they get backstage again, that Mark Sterling is Max or MJF's lawyer. He's going to be looking over that contract for next week. MVP looks like he saw a ghost. It was not looking good, but he said, "You know what? It's fine. It's fine." So they can't be too sneaky about what they put on paper. But I mean, there's also social contracts, so you never know. It's what's and the invisible ink you got to be worried about, I guess. But
Mm-hmm.
we also have ourselves. I mean, it's not just one eliminator match tonight. We have two. We have another four-way match with the AEW Women's World Champion, Timeless Toni Storm, going against the new New Japan Strong Women's Champion in Azumi, going against Mina Shirakawa, now officially All Elite, going against the returning hometown girl in Sky Blue, in what was a very, very, very fun four-way eliminator match as Auntie Collins joins the chat. I swear Collins knows when I say the words Ring of Honor, because it's like as soon as I say that, they pop up somewhere. And then on top of that, it's me going on a rant about the piss poor booking of their champions that really just, they know when I'm like in their head. So, I mean, Collins, I basically just said, like, long story short, you and Kyle tomorrow are going to be talking some smack about it on a ramble, but alas, it is good to see my partner in crime in the chat, as always. She says it's good to see Stephanie Hardy on the channel as well. I mean, I love when people in the chat and people on the screen, everybody just has taste, and it's great. And as we get into this eliminator match, again, taste, it was great. Stephanie, your thoughts on this four-way?
Yeah, it was hard hitting. Like, it was, I
Mm-hmm.
loved how it sort of started with not everybody just knocking each other out, but with them knocking Timeless Tony out, and also just knocking, and it was just between, and knocking Sky Blue out, and it was just between Azumi and Mina Shirakawa, which basically fed into their resurgence fight that they had. Of course, without Mercedes Moné, my goat, my
Yeah.
love.
A main event,
It
no
was just
less, on pay-per-view,
right,
and Mina taking the
right.
pin in that match.
Right, it's crazy. But just, how the match just sort of started with those two fighting each other. And then eventually you had Tony and oh my gosh, I'm blanking on names again.
Yeah, and then eventually Tony and Sky get in the ring. It's kind of the
Yeah,
inverse
Tony and
for a little bit.
Sky, get back into the ring, and just hitting each other, back and forth, hitting each other with the best of what they have to offer. Of course, you had the crowd eating out of the palm of Sky's hands because he hadn't seen her in months, and she was always talented to me from first seeing her in Empower like years ago. So seeing her and how she's evolved into who she is now was just really great to see her bounce back from that. Like, there was a point where I thought, like she was going to get the win because that would have been a really feel good moment, right? But no. In the midst of all the fighting, Mina rises to the occasion. So that was amazing with her and Tony's history, to put it mild. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they kind of alluded to it at points in the match. Obviously, not only just the Stardom history, but it was last year Forbidden Door where we did see Mina challenge Tony for the world title and ultimately come up short. Granted, there's no Mariah May to contend with at the moment. Also of note, I do love that Mina came out with one theme song and then she left with another. So it looks like on Twitter, I mean, Tony Khan kind of confirmed that like the theme that we all know, like the Club Venus theme, is going to be the one that sticks around.
Hmm.
So poor Mikey Ruckus probably made a theme for just one episode, but hey, it wasn't a bad theme. I don't
It
think anybody
wasn't.
was just expecting it to change, but hey, I mean, if we want the hits and he's gonna give us the hits, I'll take it. Give me that accordion. Come on. But I mean, this match had everything. We got to see a lot of tandem offense at points. We got to see so many dives to the outside. We got to see, like, especially during the commercial break, everyone chopping each other, everybody suplexing each other. Like, there was a lot of points where it felt like Azumi and Mina were teaming up, then Mina and Tony were teaming up, then Sky and Azumi were teaming up. It was just like everybody had a little bit of gusto in this match, which I appreciated. And then we kind of get into the ending of the match where it looked like Sky was coming for Code Blue on Mina, but eventually Azumi comes in, hits a double stomp there, breaks that up. Then it seems like there's going to be a big move where Asami hits the Canadian Destroyer on Sky Blue, and that gets broken up by Tony Storm. Tony Storm hits a Storm Zero to Asami. That gets broken up by Mina. And then it looks like Tony's trying to hit Mina with the Storm Zero. She hits a back body drop. And then they trade small packages for that win for Mina Shirakawa. And then we just see Tony gesture to the Tron, and it's official at Double or Nothing. We get the, I guess, the official rubber match between Mina and Tony at Double or Nothing one more time for the Women's World title. And I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one too. Like the women's world championship continues to be the thing that everybody is gunning for, especially when Timeless Tony has it because she is such a star. And when she's holding a title, you're going to get like the best matches, regardless to who she's fighting against. So I'm very pumped with Double or Nothing, and then I just can't wait to see who's going to come out the winner because you know, whoever wins that match gets to face whoever wins the Owen Hart for the women. And that's going to be sick. So we got a lot of good, cool stuff to look forward to in women's wrestling for Double or Nothing. I'm pumped.
Yeah, and then if you think about it, like there's a little bit of layers with every person in both matches too. Because I mean, you go back to Wrestle Dynasty, Mina lost her Rev Pro British Undisputed Women's title to Mercedes Moné. I
Right.
mean, Jamie Hayter was the one that defeated Toni Storm for the Women's World Championship before. And then obviously Tony's history that they have going on there, and then the stuff going on with Mercedes and Jamie Hayter, which we will get into because Mercedes Moné comes out and she attacks Azumi on the ramp immediately after the match, basically saying like you screwed me out of the title and everything too. She locks in the statement maker. Azumi's tapping out, and then out comes Jamie Hayter for the save, locking in a crossface on Mercedes. And it looks like as she's getting ready to hit the Haterade, security comes breaks it up. Why? Why? Let us be violent, please. Come on, we need this. Especially after the last time that they got into this, it was Mercedes standing tall because she was choking out Jamie. I mean, come on, guys. I know we only got like a week
Right.
and a half left, but still, I want it.
Yeah, I wanted to, and I just couldn't get over how fabulous all those women looked. Like not only the women in the Fatal
Yeah.
Four Way, but once Mercedes came out there with that hair and that outfit, I
hmm
was like, girl, every time you come on my television, you're always looking beautiful. Like, girl, stop it. You're
And
gagging
then
me with
Jamie with
this
like the denim
suit.
jumpsuit too.
I love that.
It was a good
I
night for
love
looks.
that. It really was. And I know people kind of like throw shade at Jamie and her outfits, but her outfits are killer if you're into retro stuff, which I am. So I'm just
Yeah.
like, it eats. It eats.
No, I love the fact that
Appreciate
like
it.
she's modded out and everything too. Like you could joke and say it's Scooby Doo, but like no, like the '60s and the '70s, it was glam, it was fashion, it's culture. Like go back, it's very rock and roll. Of course, Jamie Hayter is gonna have that aesthetic. Like she's a cool badass with it, and then she's even like on Twitter with Alex Kane, basically saying like they need to be booked together because he's also kind of
Yes.
matching her freak with the '70s aesthetic. Which, I mean, if they revive Starsky and Hutch, I mean, there you go.
Right. Or if they revive Austin Powers, there you go.
I mean, any and all opportunities, I'm not going to complain about that. But we do also, before we get into the main event, or actually even before that, we did have a nice tribute to Sabu, who passed away over the weekend as well. Taz having some really kind words for his former friend from ECW, basically saying that how he was a machine and his presence and his energy were infectious, and that not only did he bring out the best in him, but he was aura before there was aura, which I fully agree with. So definitely going to miss you, Sabu. Rest in peace. But not too long after that, we do have Tony Schiavone and Nigel McGuinness in the ring, kind of rehashing what happened after the main event of Collision last week. We had Daniel Garcia going one-on-one with Dax Harwood at the time, and then it looked like as things were getting winding down, we had Cash Wheeler kind of getting into his face at commentary and then poking the bear, so to speak, at Nigel McGuinness, which led to him getting involved in the ending of that match last week. And he mentions like he was feeling remorseful just because of the fact that he did what he always tells Tony Schiavone not to do, and he stepped away from the desk and into the ring. He invites Daniel Garcia out to the ring for an apology, basically saying the ego got the best of him, and he not only did it cost him the match, but the winner's purse as well. And then Garcia tells him like you don't need to apologize. You could hold on to that and everything too because you did what you were supposed to do and you defended yourself. He said that FTR tried to end his career. They tried to end Cope's career, and that if they had a chance, they can end Nigel's as well. Daniel said he's going to fight FTR with or without Nigel. And he gives them the chance to either stand with him or stand in commentary. It doesn't change the fact. And before we can get a response from Nigel McGuinness, out comes the one, the only, I don't know if he's still banned from Zaxby's. If someone could confirm that and post it in the chat, let us know. Stokely Hathaway doing Stokely Hathaway things, or just being dastardly and derogatory. As one Stokely Hathaway does. He says they were out there glazing over who's the bigger disappointment. He says, probably with his fingers crossed behind his back, that FTR was not there, but that there are repercussions and consequences for getting physical with them. And he said that the punishment for Nigel McGuinness should be getting into the ring with FTR in an official match, since they can't be held accountable. They can't be suspended or anything, too. Anything that they do is fair game. And Nigel says that's exactly what he doesn't want to do. He doesn't want to wrestle FTR because he says that there's a good chance that they could kill him. They could kill Daniel. And Daniel says, yeah, they might, but you've overcome the odds your whole career. I've overcome the odds my whole career. And he thinks that they have a chance to kind of give the fans what they want and see Nigel back in the ring. But, Stokely's saying, yeah, no. You could go back behind the desk, be AEW's Al Bundy, and relive your glory days. And then before we could even get into anything beyond that and basically talking about, oh, you want to beat the odds? Like, FTR is going to beat you down like you beat hepatitis, which was a bar I was not expecting. Like, I knew we were going low, but I didn't think we were going to hell. Sheesh. And then as soon as that happens, FTR, who wasn't in the building, got in the building. They got in the ring. They started beating down Nigel. They started beating down Daniel Garcia. And it looks like they're about to hit a spike pile driver on Nigel McGuinness. But Daddy Magic to the save. Matt Menard comes out with a crowbar, sends FTR out of the ring. The stare-off ensues. And then Nigel kind of, again, in remorse, like, I don't know why I didn't fight. I'm sorry. Like, this should not have happened. But interesting developments here. I'm very curious to see if we get a tag match with FTR, Nigel, and Garcia, or if it's going to be a 6-man tag match, because you could add in Daddy Magic and have Stokely involved in the match officially. Stokely can wrestle if he's prompted to, but most importantly, he could bump. And I want to see him get tossed around.
Me too. That would be funny. That would be absolutely hilarious. But I really feel like it really might just be a tag match, because I feel like Stokely is just that person who will just get involved illegally somehow and be like, you can't do that, and, da, 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 da. And then he winds up getting knocked down anyway, just because he just does too much all the time. So I'm excited to see it. I'm always pumped to see Nigel McGuinness get in action, because he's just a phenomenal wrestler. So I just can't wait to see that. And just, what is up with people getting into it with commentators, man? Stop.
Yeah, it's happening everywhere, damn near. As it stands right now, I think the only ones safe right now are in TNA. Freaking Tom Hannafin and Matt Raywalt. Granted, Raywalt is also a trained wrestler, so I don't think they have to worry about that. But
yeah, they're safe on WoW too. They just on WoW they just get yelled at. But other than that, that's it.
Okay, so verbal harassment, but yes. I just want to see Stokely Hathaway get like Uncle Phil and Jazz tossed out, like, for the one time. That'd be most pleasing to me and my homegirls. Please let it happen.
Yes.
We could go get the airtime.
Yes.
Come on. But alas, it is now time for our main event of the evening. The match we've been waiting for a few weeks, especially since the Ops won those trios titles. It is a steel cage match for the AEW World title. They did mention that it was pinfall or submission only. Escaping the cage would not win the match. Although, we find out that there's rope breaks in this match, which don't make no damn sense in a steel cage match that's technically no disqualification.
Yeah, my father called that out. Shout out to him. He was just like, why are there rope breaks in a steel cage match tradition? Like just to give context, my father's been watching wrestling like since the 70s. So he knows everything. So he's just like, that's why was that there? And I was just like, oh, I don't know. And I just stayed quiet.
It was there for the storytelling. They did also mention it's the first time the men's world championship has ever been defended in a steel cage match. I do like that the women got the jump on that before they did. So
yes.
Shout out to Thunder Rosa and to Britt Baker. History. We'd love to see it. But, the match was jam-packed full of action. We saw from the get-go, Joe was just flinging Moxley around the cage. He was striking the hell out of him. And then it seems like as he's getting the upper hand, John Moxley immediately going after the knee and trying to wear the big man down, body part by body part. It's interesting to see Moxley go for like typical ring psychology when I'm so used to like all the plunder and just like the chaotic violence that he's known for. So like actually seeing him isolate a body part and try to work from that is a refreshing change of pace. We do also see after the commercial break, not only do we have the rest of the Death Riders at ringside, we have Powerhouse Will Hobbs and Willow Nightingale at ringside as well to try to even the odds. So seems like there's just a lot of craziness. I mean, it just wouldn't be a John Moxley world title match if there wasn't blood. And he was a gushing. I mean, at one point, like you could actually see like blood splatters from him onto Samoa Joe, looking like some kind of like sadistic stuff, like with like the evil smirk. Joe gave me a look like I was in Sinners, and I was not about that life. No, I'm okay. I'm okay. But we do see a lot more action. I mean, at some point, we start to see Joe start to fight back. He had a huge power bomb that he has the STF locked into where Mox does get into the ropes, which caused my frustration, confusion, the things. We also do eventually see they've been kind of changing holds here. It looks like there's going to be a bulldog choke. Joe gets out of that as well. Samoa drop countered, and then he hits a huge paradigm shift on Samoa Joe for only 2. And then we do see where he's actually Samoa Joe getting John Moxley into the coquina clutch, but Claudio Castagnoli trying to scale the cage and distract the referee. Willow Nightingale pulling him off the cage. Although it seems like as she's pulling him off the cage that Marina was also trying to pull her off of Claudio, so he comes down on both women, kind of hard. And then that is always fun to see. And then on the opposite side, Powerhouse Hobbs has Wheeler Yuta, catches him off the cage and sends him through a table at ringside. So it seems like momentarily Death Riders are handled. You love to see it. But sadly, we do also see amidst from that that there's a mystery man that slides in that briefcase into the ring, covered by hood. The briefcase that allegedly has the world championship in it gets smacked across the face of Samoa Joe for the win, and then the hooded man reveals himself to be the New Japan Strong Openweight champion, or at least the former. I don't know if he's still the current champion. I do apologize about that. But Gabe Kidd from New Japan Pro Wrestling out here to even the odds for the Death Riders, even though they had the one person advantage and they were already taking it. It's haters uniting. That's all you need to know. Gabe Kidd out there. And then not only is Gabe Kidd going to be out there, no, we're not done with the hating. We need the Young Bucks. And the Young Bucks come out. Everybody's trying to get them into the ring. And then Kenny Omega trying to even the odds. He does take out Claudio, takes out Wheeler Yuta, and then Okada. Kazuchika Okada taking out Kenny Omega sent him into the ring. And this whole time, as he gets sent in the ring, Samoa Joe's still in the ring. Willow's down at ringside. Hobbs is down on ringside now because he got sent to the steel steps. Matt Jackson had a remote control that controlled lowering the steel cage. Which at first I'm like, what the hell's in his hand? It looks like a detonator, like either that or like the old iCarly remote with like all these switches and everything on there too, but just painted black. And then
You're better than me. I thought it was an old school cell phone.
See, I wouldn't have put it past it. I thought like he was getting ready to pull the antenna and he was about to make a satellite call. I'm like, hey, I mean, if you like it, I love it. But we do see the heels starting to beat them down. We saw the EVP trigger delivered to Samoa Joe. We got to see all sorts of action, and then paradigm shift to Kenny Omega. And as it stands, like the heels are just beating and beating and beating away. Swerve Strickland comes out. He scales the cage. He cross bodies everybody. And as it looks like he's trying to get himself some, Matt Jackson says, no, we need to raise this cage and get the hell out of here. Which leads to Swerve getting on the mic talking about the fact that last time he was in a steel cage in this city that he had his brain battered. He was almost taken off a steel chair. And then it kind of just ignited something in his sadistic mind where it made him realize that he's not afraid of anything. He is fear. He's the most dangerous man in all of AEW. And the challenge is laid out to all those men on the outside, plus Marina, versus all the men on the inside, plus Willow, and Anarchy in the arena. What will be the first time we have an intergender Anarchy in the arena match? I'm excited that we finally have women getting involved in it. It has not been officially confirmed, but I mean, it's going to happen. Mm-hmm. I'd be genuinely gobsmacked if it didn't happen, but what a crazy way to close out this episode of Dynamite. Stephanie, your thoughts on everything with the main event?
Yeah, this was a very brutal main event, but I knew it would be considering, I mean, who was in the match, just the nature of it. And
Yep.
then I just knew it was just going to be really tough and just really brutal and really hard hitting. But John Moxley, like you said, just showed us that he had more in his arsenal than just being sort of like the crazy lunatic that we been known him to be for so very long. So it was really good. There was like the one part where I really thought that Samoa Joe was going to win was when he had the clutch in. But of course, those Death Riders, they ride for each other. And Claudio was like, "Yeah, I'm going to stop this right now." And I really thought that they were going to win because it looked like, they had everybody apprehended, but nope. There was another ace in the hole, and it was Gabe. So, yeah, I just wonder what his motivation is for wanting to join them. Like, what's the deal? But yeah, John Moxley is still champion out here, but Swerve is like, look, we're not gonna deal with this anymore. Like, we are gonna fight, and there's gonna be an army, and we're gonna destroy everything. Let's go. And I'm here for it. I'm definitely here for it. So it's gonna be cool.
Yeah, and I feel like Gabe Kidd's just kind of being extra petty because I mean, when Kenny Omega first came back to the ring, it was that match with Gabe Kidd in Japan. So I feel like that also played a part in it. But I think it's just kind of crazy to think that the Death Riders still, it feels like they have the advantage because there's just so many of them. Because we also don't know if Okada's going to get involved in the match. So between them and the Young Bucks,
Yeah.
that's three. Then you got Gabe Kidd, that's four. Then you got the actual Death Riders, which as it stands right now, because Pac is injured, is eight. So
Mm.
we go from that, and then we get into the babyface side of things. You got Willow. You
Mhm.
have no, you have Kenny Omega. You have Powerhouse Hobbs. You have Samoa Joe. I mean, as it stands right now, that is four right now, just with how outnumbered they are. Swerve is five, depending on if they can get them cleared in time. I would love to see whether Hook's going to be back. I would love to see if Shibata's going to be back. I want to see like if they even it out 8 on 8, who the other person might be.
Yeah.
Because I mean, Hangman's tied up with the whole Owen Hart finals, so unless like they have someone unexpected to even the odds, I mean, you never know. Because conspicuous by an absence with the EVPs is one Jack Perry.
Mm. Yeah, when was the last time we saw him?
Yeah, I think ever since he lost the TNT Championship to Daniel Garcia, he's just kind of been up and away. So
Yeah.
we don't know if he's still good with the elite or not.
Mm.
Perhaps that plays into it. Granted, Anarchy in the Arena is not really known about having even sides to begin with. It's just about this group of people that want to beat the hell out of the other group of people. So why not?
Yeah, that's true. Like it could just be just an arm, like let's just all destroy each other type of thing. But I like the idea of your idea of building, a fair army. Because that adds, an extra wrinkle to things, and it makes it more fascinating to want to watch. So yeah, like, I like that idea.
Yeah, now the $1 million question is if this main event, the actual pay per view for Double or Nothing, would this technically count as the first women's main event, or should it still be like the women on their own main eventing?
The women on their own main eventing.
Yep. Which I would be genuinely surprised if we did get a women's main event. I feel like the best chance we have for this card would either be Tony versus Mina or Jamie versus Mercedes.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we start to see at least one pay per view this year main evented by the women, considering we go all the way back to Revolution. Actually, it was that
Mhm.
Hollywood ending that got the 5-star match, not what happened afterwards with Cope, Christian, and John Moxley.
Mhm.
It was WrestleMania where we saw the women's world title match get the 5-star match, not Cody versus John Cena.
Mhm.
It's almost like women's wrestling is kind of outdrawing the men and having better
Mhm.
matches.
Mm.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thunk it?
But alas, what do I know? I just watched the product. But yeah, that is going to wrap it up as far as Beach Breaks goes for this week's episode of DynaMic'd Up. Stephanie, thank you so much for joining me on this lovely Wednesday night. It was a pleasure to have you, to finally work with you. And there was a lot going on tonight.
Yeah, it was. And I'm so happy that we got to talk about it. Like, if you ever want me to come back, I'm definitely open to doing that. And yeah, we had a lot of fun. I'm really glad to have been here.
Yeah, no, anytime. I mean, you know us. Like, chances are we have an open door policy. Whether or not it's beneficial, if we don't have an open door policy, I'm sure Cassidy Haynes is going to be on me saying, "Why did you open the door?" So he's probably going to get a locksmith after me after that. But regardless, if you guys enjoy anything that we do here at bodyslam.net, wherever you're watching this, make sure you're giving it a like. Make sure that you're followed along, that you are sharing this. If you are subscribed on YouTube, that way you're hitting the bell to be notified whenever there is a show going on, because Body Slam has a lot of post show coverage for pretty much any show that you want to watch, whether it's WWE, AEW, TNA, MMA. They got you covered. Interviews, the whole gambit. But I mean, we kind of see it on the ticker down below. But Stephanie, if anybody's looking to find you these days, where's the best place to find you?
Well, you can follow me, your girl Stephanie Hardy, on Instagram and Twitter at Queen Steph Hardy. You can follow my show, The Hardy Wrestling Podcast, on Instagram at Hardy Wrestling Podcast and on Twitter at Hardy Wrestle Pod. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel at The Hardy Wrestling Podcast with HWP in the middle of a ring that's shaped like a diamond. You can also watch my show that I co-host with Katrina from In Cat We Trust, called Steph and Cat Talk WoW, where we do a post show on WoW superheroes. That's Women of Wrestling. We're having a double dose episode tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. And also read my articles on Daily DDT, where I just write and share my opinions about things as an editorial contributing writer there. And of course, if you're looking for commentary, or if you're looking for a ring announcer or anything, like a person for a panel or something like that, then book your girl, DM me, and we can work some stuff out. Or if you want me to appear on your show like this, you can book me and we can work out the times and everything. So yeah, that's what I've got going on.
Yes, absolutely a pleasure to have you on. I mean, I keep it pretty simple and uniform for you guys. Jose on the air pretty much everywhere. If you want to follow the second account on YouTube and on TikTok, that is Jose on a whim. This week you'll find me for a late night edition, well, I guess later night edition, of the Mother Tuckin' Post Show at our local establishment this Friday night, talking RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars 10. It is the end of the pink bracket. We are starting later because I'm going to an independent wrestling show for the first time in almost a year. So if I come back and I don't have a voice and it's just Auntie Collins and their bird noises, I mean, that's usually how it sounds because we're laughing and cutting up. Apparently, last time we got copyright blocked because we had to show videos of the runways. So won't be doing videos this time. Won't have no runway music. If you guys
Oh,
have any issues with that, you could tweet me at Hulk Hogan. But yes, aside from that, I will see you guys back here again next week for our go home episode of Dynamic'd Up, getting into Double or Nothing. But until then, everybody, you have a great night, and we will see you next time. Take care, everyone. Okay, tell there's no outro.